a lot of times you can pay less for the company than the guy you're bidding against if you can structure the deal such that it's beneficial to the guy. And a lot of that has to do with intrinsic. Some of it has to do with real value. Some of these guys are selling, but they don't really want to. They don't really want to retire. This is their sweat, blood, and tears. So if you can keep them involved in some peripheral way that does not impact the way you run the company going forward, because that's a problem, can be a real problem too. Then if you can work that into the deal, makes sense. If you can do it in some kind of a different payoff so that, it's beneficial for their family or their estate planning or that sort of thing. A lot of strategic buyers, like if GE was buying another GE company, they just pay, or stock. It would be equity or cash, that sort of thing. There's not much else they can do. But if you come to them with like a private equity company or with your own coin, cash, you can structure the deal better than most anybody else. And so structure the deal sometimes, depending upon who you're buying, becomes critical. I mean, it can really make the difference. You can pay less for the company in today's dollars than your competitor would and still be a better deal for this guy 5-10 years down the line for him or his estate.
So would an example of that, Jordan, be like you have a deal, and if they get all cash right now, then they have to pay all the taxes right now, but you're maybe structuring some kind of earn out based on certain revenue things, or just seller financing a portion of that over time so they essentially could make more money, but you're using the profits and the cash flow of the business to pay them out? Or what's an example of that?
I'll give you a perfect example. When we sold Aerofit, we didn't sell it all. We sold 80%. We sold it to the second highest bidder. Company called Pacific Cast Parts, big outfit, was a higher bidder, and so was Alcoa at the time. The higher bidder, but we ended up selling to a private equity group out of New York, who allowed us to keep 20% of the business. Now we sold for $88 million in 2012. I sold my reduced because it got
diluted.
I found that it got diluted over time, but I sold that for another $29 million. I couldn't have gotten that back in 2012. They wouldn't give me another $30 million. And that was my half. So it's $60 million more between my partner and I on top of the 88. I mean,
See, that's a fascinating way to think. They built.
Well,
Go ahead.
Here's what it boils down to. So give me the money. What do I do with it? I put it in the stock market. It's like going to Vegas. What do I do? I'm 70. At that time, it was 75, 74. What do I do? Start another business? I don't want to start another business. How do I protect that money? Where do I know I can make the most money? It's in owning businesses. It's that's where I can make the most money. Do I trust these people are going to run this business? I'm not only trust them, they're going to make me CEO until I can find somebody I like to put in my place. By the way, it took me 4 years, but nonetheless, we found somebody, and during those 4 years, and then I stayed on the board, so I knew exactly what was happening to it, all the way up until we sold that company again to Black & Decker. Stanley Black & Decker is the one that bought it in 2012. So we kept it for 8 years after they bought it and sold it to Stanley Black & Decker.
Who then sold again, right?
No.
So gotcha.
Stanley owns it right now. They bought it in February this year, just before the crash.